it's Holly, and I wanted to do a video talking about what I'm watching on TV. This is kind of more for me than it is for you, but that too, just because I think it's interesting to look back and think about like what I was into, like what shows I was watching and all of that, just like with my books. So I actually used to read or watch a ton of TV. I've always been a TV person. Like, I actually like watching TV shows more than I like watching movies, and that has always been the case. Like, I used to watch 20 to 25 shows. Like, I literally had like a spreadsheet to keep track of them and everything, but I've really cut back, and some of that is, well, most of it is just that I'm not as interested in those shows. Like, I was watching shows that I've watched forever, like NCIS. I like to joke that I've been a fan of NCIS since JAG, which is true. I used to watch JAG when I was very, very little, and then I watched NCIS when it came out, and I stopped watching briefly after season 2. If you've seen the show, then you might know why I stopped watching. I did ultimately come back to the show, and then 2 seasons ago, I just stopped watching it. I wasn't enjoying it as much as I was before. Actually, I didn't write this down, so let me say it right now while I'm thinking about it. There are 2 shows that I watch that are not on right now, that I do enjoy, do watch, although they are potentially in that dangerous stage where they're both going into their 3rd season, and I personally find a lot of times that the first season of TV shows are the best seasons because they, like, that's what they're pitched for, you know? And so they have like this complete plot for our first season, and then it kind of goes like wacky after season 1. I kind of wish we had more like season-long shows that were just seasons and we're just done after a season. I think that would be amazing. But those 2 shows, they air on Sci-Fi here in the US. I believe they are actually Canadian shows, and they are Dark Matter and Killjoys. I really enjoy them. I do think they're very fun. Killjoys especially is a little like corny, but I love it. The other show I watch that's not currently on, and as far as I know has not been renewed for a 3rd season yet, is Stitchers. It's on Freeform. It's probably my favorite show right now. Like, I don't consider it canceled at this point, so it's my favorite show on, and I just love it. You can watch seasons 1 and 2 on Hulu if you want to check it out. I highly suggest doing it. Again, it's a little corny. You kind of have to like suspend belief with the like science, which I have no problem with whatsoever, but I love it. So let's talk about the shows that I'm actually watching. 3 new shows, like shows that are new this year, and they are Hunted on CBS. Now, this just started and I've only seen 1 episode, and I'm gonna be honest, I may not stick with it, but I thought I would mention it in the interest of honesty. So by the time you see this, if I decided to stop watching it, I'll like add a note or something for you. But it's a reality show, but it's kind of like a procedural crime drama where like teams of 2 are on the run and then the authorities are trying to track them down. I think the concept is interesting. The first episode was kind of weak. And then I'm watching Bull on CBS, of course. I'm like a lifelong Mike Weatherly fan. I loved and love NCIS, so of course I love Mike Weatherly. And I also love Dark Angel, so again, love Mike Weatherly. I enjoy it. I think this is one of those shows where I might get burned out on it though, because I love the episodic nature of it. Like, I really enjoy that, and I just don't know how long they're going to stick with that, or if they're going to start doing super drama and everything. But it's kind of like Runaway Jury, which is a great movie. So less emotional investment from like the person like manipulating the jury, but I find it interesting. And then last one is Timeless on NBC, which at first I wasn't going to watch it, and then I checked it out and I really enjoy it. This one is definitely corny and it's definitely over the top, but I really like it. I think it's interesting because every episode is so different. because they're traveling back in time. And I've mentioned this on my book channel before, that time travel makes me very uncomfortable because how it works doesn't make sense to me. And this show actually handles that very well, because you have the three like main characters, well, four main characters including the bad guy, like going back in time and things are changing, and like when they come back things have changed. And I think that that's very interesting. Like, that doesn't happen a lot in time travel stuff, and I find it very interesting. I like it, and I like history, so I think it's fun. And the characters are great. Rufus is my favorite out of all of the characters. He, I think, is the strongest character. He's the most interesting character. He's often funny, but I think that he is just as important as like the other main characters. I really do think he's a main character. I love him. Recurring shows I am watching, so the first one isn't on yet, it'll be on in March, but I'm going to mention it, is I do watch Survivor on CBS. I have strayed away, and I've come back, and I've strayed, and I've come back, and I'm back. I have seen every season, however, just like not always as they aired. I'm actually in the process of kind of rewatching it in March. My mom watches it, so like we talk about it and everything. And I did really enjoy this last season. I thought it was very interesting, and I'm very excited for this upcoming season. One of my favorite like characters from the previous season is going to be on, so that's fun. And then my homegirl, Sandra, is back. I'm very nervous about this, so I'm rooting for her. I will always root for her. I love her. She's an inspiration, and she's hilarious. So I do watch Survivor. Maybe I'll do like a separate video on Survivor sometime. I don't know. Let me know if you'd be interested in that. I watch Survivor, I think, for a different reason. Or what I get out of Survivor is different from other people. Like, I spoil myself on Survivor before I watch it, because I'm more interested in the storytelling, so I like to see like what kind of stories the editors choose to tell from like a season and an episode basis. And that's why I enjoy rewatching it so much, is you can really see like what they've done and everything. So if you want me to talk about that, just let me know. I have not started yet, but I wanted to put this on here. I may or may not actually watch it. Is Shadowhunters on Freeform season 2 just started, and I watched season 1. I enjoyed it. I don't think it's perfect. I don't know. I just haven't decided. I think I'm gonna watch it. I might just watch one episode and see where we go from there. This may end up being one of those shows that I just like stop watching, and then I will check it out as it ends up on like Netflix or on DVD. I don't know. I'm kind of at the point where it's really easy for me to just like drop it and just be like, oh, I don't have time for that one. So I'm a little on it. And then I am watching Blind Spot on NBC again. It's in its second season. I will finish this season with it. I'm not 100% sure if I would go into a third season if they have a third season. I just don't really understand what they're going for with this show, and I'm just really afraid it's going to be very meandering, and I'm just not a fan of that. You don't have to have, like, obviously you could have mystery and stuff, but it just feels sometimes like it's just made up and things are... I was just thinking about what happened in the first half of this season, and I was like, I feel like a lot didn't really happen. Like, I felt like things were like dragged out that didn't need to be, and I don't know. So we'll see. I mean, it's good. I enjoy it when I'm watching it. I don't know. And then I'm watching The Bachelor on ABC, which I have watched The Bachelor on occasion. I do not watch The Bachelorette. I don't think I've ever seen The Bachelorette. The Bachelor makes me incredibly uncomfortable, which is why I typically stop watching it. Because I feel like embarrassed for characters for these women when they do embarrassing things. But I don't know. I started listening to the podcast on Rob Has a Podcast about it, and the girls podcasting about it were pretty funny. So I decided to start watching it, and I'm trying to watch it kind of like with the idea of like, this is just fun and it's not serious and all of that. But I don't know. I mean, it's nice, mindless entertainment. And then a show I have not started yet, it's actually brand new, but I haven't started it yet, is Victoria. It's a masterpiece production, I guess, on PBS here. I don't know what it aired on in the UK. I don't know if it was like BBC or if it was on another network. But it's on PBS here for Masterpiece, and I need to start watching it. Like, I was at my mom's the other day and she's like, did you know about this? And I was like, yeah, I know about it. So I really need to check it out. And she said she watched it, and the first episode, we're 2 episodes in at this point, and I mean, they're long, they're like 2 hours long, so you know, I gotta get on it. Plus who knows how long I'll be up on PBS.com. So I should probably watch it. But she said the first episode was 2 hours, and that they hadn't, she's like, we haven't even gotten to Victoria meeting her husband yet. And I'm like, yeah, because she's a badass. Like, I love Queen Victoria, and that's why my mom brought it up, is because when I was in high school, we had to do this project in one of my history classes, and it was a yearly project. Like, you had every class, like, this teacher did this for all of his history classes for 10th grade. And everybody in the classroom picked a historical figure, living or dead, didn't matter. And then you basically studied up on them, and you learned as much as you could about them. And then like 5 or 6 of you or whatever were picked at a time to basically sit at the front of the classroom and like hold a debate and a discussion, and almost kind of like a UN kind of thing, as if you were those people. And so it's so interesting. So, you know, like, I was Queen Victoria, or maybe we didn't pick them, maybe they were assigned to us. I can't remember, but whatever. So I was Queen Victoria. I remember we had like Saddam Hussein, and we had Winston Churchill and Margaret Thatcher, and just all these like famous historical figures, like good, bad, whatever, Stalin, all of that. I don't think we had Hitler, but you know. And then you got like bonus points if you dressed up like them. So like I dressed up like Queen Victoria. My mom made my outfit, and I wore like this like fancy black dress, so it was like her in mourning, and it was a great experience, and it showed me so much about this woman and her strength and what she did for the world, and like aside from spreading hemophilia. Like, so of course I want to watch that. I just have not done it yet. Watching something that's that long is kind of hard. Typically I watch TV when I get home from work, and I don't really have a ton of time when I get home. So if you want to tell me about any shows that you are enjoying, if you have any comments about any of these or questions or anything, feel free to let me know down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.